Welcome to the first ever episode of Culturally Effed After Dark, or Effed After Dark for short. The series looking at sexuality in the furry fandom. I'm your host, RK, and this is the second part of a pair of episodes looking at specific furry fandom terminology and slang. Click here to see that video first, or check the link in the description. Just like regular slang, much of the fandom's lingo has X-rated meanings. Let's remember that the adult side of the fandom exists, and it's a big part of furry. But it's not the whole picture. Just watch literally any of my other videos to get that. Let's put on our grown-up pants and talk about the quintessential furry buzzword, YIF. Please note that the following contains content of a sexual nature, so if you are a minor in your country, please mute your device until the video is over.
I'm here to provide the facts about sex in a frank and straightforward manner. And now here's Fuzzy Bunny's Guide to You-Know-What.
Urban Dictionary describes YIF as being any one of the following. YIF, noun. The sound supposedly made by mating Arctic foxes. This is the one that I heard first.
The foxes made a YIF sound in the bushes.
You can see in this SciShow video all about the noises that foxes make. None of them make anything remotely resembling the sound YIF. So, myth busted. Definition 2, YIF, acronym, standing for Young Incredibly Fuckable Furry, or Yucky Idiotic Furry Fuckers.
That guy is so yiffable.
No sources for this, but I do like a good acronym. 3, a proper name for YIF Sound Server, a program for Linux to help handle audio.
Please reinstall your YIF.
4, noun or verb for a sexual act of any sort.
The two consenting adults went to their hotel room for a quick YIF.
Fluffy and Fuzzy got married. That night came the honeymoon.
She's faking it.
5, noun, furry porn.
And various other wholesome activities.
I went online and found way too much YIF.
6, an expression of joy, usually by furries.
Oh, YIF!
7, a non-invasive question about sexual feelings or willing to mate.
Would you YIF me? I'd YIF me.
Or 8, Youth Intergalactic Fighting Force! By now! WikiFur cites the source of YIF as a user from FurryMuck. For more information on FurryMuck, please see the episode on the internet. They were using it as a general greeting and was then adopted by the other foxes on the server as being sexual in nature. Spreading it throughout the fandom, it's an onomatopoeia for something that's dripping with an excess of cutesiness. The antonym of YIF is YERF, meaning G-rated or an enthusiastic greeting or an old image board similar to Furfinity and Weasel. I prefer just to say hello. Furry has had a bad rap for being overtly sexual in nature. In our discussions in previous episodes, we determined that this overt sexuality stems from an open and honest policy in the fandom and a sex-positive mindset. Unfortunately, much more prudish and immature people cling onto these elements and magnify them to reflect the fandom as a whole. People react more strongly to sexy or weird stuff, so the stigma tends to linger for a very long time. FURVERT, from pervert, usually used as derogatory towards furries seeking anthropomorphic porn. Note, not all furries find this one particularly offensive. And I remind our audience that not all furries are in the fandom for the porn. MURRY-PURRY is a derogatory term used to talk about any group of furries, usually implying a sexy old time, as in a MURRY-PURRY furry party. Say it 10 times fast. MURRY-PURRY furry party. MURRY-PURRY furry party. MURRY-PURRY furry party. MURRY-PURRY furry party.
MURRY-PURRY furry party. MURRY-PURRY furry party. MURRY-PURRY furry party.
Send us a video of you saying MURRY-PURRY furry party 10 times fast, please. Fur fag or furry faggot or fur faggot, your friendly neighborhood gay guy who also just happens to be a furry. Generally used negatively unless you are a fur fag yourself. The kind of people who spit out these terms at someone are not just hating on furries. Their hate is closed-minded, sex-negative, and homophobic. The misunderstanding starts at seeing images that are far more exotic than traditional tastes. It can be very jarring to someone who isn't in the mindset for it. Or maybe they were introduced to it by someone they know as a kind of gross-out humor. But why were they looking at it in the first place? They will be more likely to ignore the anthropomorphism and focus on just the animal element and label the entire fandom as perverted and sex-crazed. And a fandom devoted entirely to having orgies in mascot costumes in hotels and forests. I'm looking at you, Tina Fey.
Our term for intercourse is yiffing.
Would you excuse me, please?
These assumptions are easier to come to than the truth. If you know someone who holds these misconceptions, maybe link them to one of our videos and we'll try our best to change their minds. I think another part of this is the ubiquity of erotica in the fandom. It's incredibly searchable, and there is a large quantity of it. People like to consume porn. Everyone likes to consume porn. And Furry lets you customize it and explore different avenues of things like kink without being exploitative or racist or putting yourself in physical or mental danger, though you can certainly still be speciesist, sexist, or transphobic. Of course, it doesn't end at yiff, like human world equivalents such as the Dirty Sanchez, Doggy Style, Beavers, or Johnsons. Here are the rest of some MURRY-PURRY furry lingo. Furotica, from erotica, furry porn and erotic stories. Murr, a sound to indicate pleasure. Murray, meaning horny. Paw-off, or pawing, meaning masturbating. Clopping for bronies, and I like to say flapping for birds. Tailhole, of course, referring to anus. Muzzle-job, or muzz-job, referring to blowjob. A knot is a noun referring to an anatomically correct penis in the Canidae species. Knotting is a verb to penetrate over the knot. So let's pretend this didgeridoo represents a regular human penis, just a straight shaft, and this ukulele represents a penis with a knot. So this is the shaft, and the knot rests at the base of the penis. A mersuit is a fursuit that is designed for sexual interactions. Specific kinks and fetishes. Morph, meaning changing, shape-shifting, or gender-shifting. Macro as in giant, micro as in tiny. Inflation as in growing large. Transformation from one species to another, etc. Furry can be associated with, attached to, and included in all fetishes and kinks. It's an arts-based community with the only limit being one's imagination. Fur is just a bit of icing on the kink cake to make it more colorful, explorative, and personal without having to buy expensive equipment or gear, or even having to commit to embarrassing or physically dangerous acts. If you want some great videos on sex, education, sex philosophy, and empowerment, I highly recommend Sexplanations with Dr. Doe.
And now that you know how it's done, don't do it.
Most of the definitions I mentioned in this episode can be found in the source links below. Some of them I wrote on the fly. Did we miss anything? Did we get anything wrong? Please let us know down in the comments and we will fix it in a future episode. Thanks for watching. Culturally F this week was brought to you by these fluffy people and by our sponsors on Patreon. If you like what we do here, the best thing you can do for us is subscribe and share with your friends. If you want to support us in a more tangible way, we have a donate button at the top of our YouTube page and also a Patreon, where patrons get cool perks like priority episode suggestion and early access to our side series all about furries and sex called Culturally After Dark. If you have an idea for a future episode topic, you can find us online at Culturally Eft on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, Furfinity, and Weasel. I have been your host, RK, and thanks for watching.